So you should have just looked at the web quest and looked up about the cell membrane, so I'm just going to review that material with you quickly. Okay, the cell membrane, which is the outer surrounding of cells, which all cells have, plants, animals, bacteria, prokaryotes, eukaryotes, they all have a cell membrane, sometimes called a plasma membrane. It's made up of mainly lipids with some proteins. And the special arrangement of the lipids is called the phospholipid bilayer. Okay, why? Because it's in 2 layers. Bi means 2, so this is 2 layers. And again, if you look at the picture, or if you drew a picture, this right here shows the 2 layers. Now notice they go upside down to each other. So, what's so special about the phospholipids is that they have a head here and tails. The head is hydrophilic. Okay, hydro means water and philic means to love. I believe that's written in your other picture. So hydrophilic heads, water loving, and the hydrophobic tails, hydro meaning again water, phobic, like the word phobia, it really means fear of. These tails, they fear water. Now why do they fear water? Well, they're fatty acid tails. That means they're lipids. And remember we learned last class that lipids are nonpolar and they don't like water. So it's not really that they're afraid. I don't know if you asked a lipid if it was afraid of water, what it would tell you, but it is, they don't like to mix with water. Okay, which is really important for keeping our cell membrane structure. So I'm just going to show you this little picture. There it is. Okay, here's the picture of the whole cell membrane. Okay, so notice how the heads of the cell membrane, they're all in contact with water, whereas the tails, they don't like to touch each other. So this is basically what a cell looks like. It's got this cell membrane going all the way around, okay, where the heads all line up touching the inside and the outside, and the tails meet up in the middle. Okay, so the cell membrane is called selectively permeable. Sometimes that's called semi-permeable. Okay, what this means is that it only lets certain things move through it. To permeate means that things can move through it. Like if you're in your living room and you smell your mother cooking dinner in the kitchen, that's because the smell permeated or moved from the kitchen into your living room. Okay, so to be selective, okay, maybe you're selective about what clothes you wear or what food you eat. To selective means to be picky, so that you're only going to let certain things, you're only going to pick certain things. So in this case, the cell membrane is selectively permeable, means it only lets certain things move through it. And this is really important because it allows the cell to maintain homeostasis. Oops, I misspelled. So what kinds of things does it let through? It lets small things through. Okay, so if the molecule is small, it gets through, or if the molecule is nonpolar. Okay, that means it has to be nonpolar because it has to be able to fit by those tails. The tails won't let anything through that is charged. Okay, so things that can easily move through our cells would be things like oxygen and water, which are really teeny tiny, and things like steroids, which could be big, but they're nonpolar, so that they get to move through easily. Okay. Anything that's really large or has a charge cannot move through the phospholipids. So something large would be like something like glucose, and something charged might be something like salt. Those things cannot move through the phospholipid part of the cell membrane. Okay, so here's just another little animation of the cell membrane. Okay, notice how the pieces of the cell membrane, they keep moving around. Okay, they're not static. I mean, they don't just stay still the whole time. They're moving around, which allows stuff to be able to fit through. So because they're moving, if something wanted to squeeze through here, the movement kind of allows the really small molecules to be able to fit through. Okay, and if you notice here, some things are getting through. Watch it again. Watch what is getting through and what's not getting through. Again, so you see the water molecules getting through, but the things that have charges, the K plus and the Na plus, those things with charges can't get through the cell membrane. Okay, so oftentimes the cell membrane is called a fluid mosaic. Okay, fluid because the parts can move around, and mosaic is just like art. Those people who know art, maybe you've made a mosaic where it's just you take lots of little tiny pieces and you put it together in a certain way to make a puzzle. Okay, well these phospholipids, they make a mosaic. Each one is a little piece, but when you put them together in a certain way, they make the picture of the cell membrane. Okay, so the lipids have a really big job. They surround the whole cell membrane, but there's proteins in it, and they're in there for a reason. They help the cell do a few different jobs. One is to communicate between cells, so these are the proteins here, and notice there's molecules moving back and forth so the cells can talk to each other. In a similar way, they can receive signals and then let the rest of the cell know what's going on. Okay, and really important, okay, those big molecules like the glucose, okay, they have to get in somehow, right? We want the food to get in, so the proteins are really important in transporting things through the cell membrane. Sometimes bringing things in is shown here, but also getting things out. Okay, so here are the three things: communicate between cells, receive signals, and transport materials into and out of the cell. Okay, that's it for today.